hope you're all well. Today I am here to do my May wrap up. I cannot believe I'm doing my May wrap up already. Like, where is the time going? May was a pretty successful month for me. It was my second best reading month so far this year, with 20 books read and 6,803 pages read as well. So I read quite a lot in May. You'll have seen the stack in the shine a light in the thumbnail. So I did manage to read quite a lot. I had quite a bit going on though as well. So I did the box readathon with my patrons, which was very successful, and we also had the final book support group as well in May. So it was a busy month and I had quite a bit going on, but I think I did pretty well and I'm very pleased with how my reading went. I had quite a few. In fact, everything was 5 and 4 star except for 2 books. So let's go through and tell you about what I read. So the first thing that I did read in May was Sabotage on the Solar Express, which is book 5 in the Adventures on Train series by M.G. Leonard and Sam Sedgman. I gave this one 5 stars. I did read this for Final Book Support Group for Continuation Station, and I really enjoy this series. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a middle grade series about a boy and his uncle who go on adventures on trains and get up to different things each time, and it's really good. So I gave this one 5 stars. Then I did finish this series off with The Arctic Railway Assassin, which is book 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, book 6 in this series, and again gave it 5 stars. Just really do love this series. It's such a fun time. This one has sprayed edges as well. Then I read Lightfall, book 3, which is The Dark Times. This was a new release and I'm so excited to be continuing on with this series. I absolutely adore this series. It is a fantasy series following a Galdorian called Cad and also a young girl called Bee. Her grandfather is a pig wizard and the son has gone missing and they're trying to save the planet and try and get the sun back, and it's just really cute and I absolutely adore it. The illustration style is beautiful and the story itself is stunning. Gave this one 5 stars as well. Then I did read The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, which is the final book in this series. It is classed as a series, although these are standalones and you can read them as standalones. I would recommend reading them in order though, because some of the characters do cross over. I really enjoyed this one. It was very good. I gave it 5 stars. The representation here is really good and I just had a fantastic time with it. I'm really glad that I had a break between the Bride Test and this one, because I think it had a much better impact on me now than it would have done had I read it when I got it years ago, on the basis that our main character Anna is slowly but surely finding out that she actually has autism in this book, and it's coming to that realization and realizing you are the way you are for this reason, that I really vibed with this book and with Anna, because I'm having a similar situation at the moment with ADHD. So I don't know, I feel like this was the perfect time for me to be reading this, because I really understood what Anna was going through. Yeah, I just really enjoyed this one. Very good. 5 stars. That was 4 5 stars back to back. Then we had Lore Olympus volume 6 by Rachel Smythe, which I got a early advance, it's not an advanced reader's copy, it's just an early finished copy from Del Rey. So shout out to them for sending me this one. I truly appreciate it. I gave this one 4 stars. I go through fits and waves with this series. The majority of them are 5 stars, but on occasion you end up with a filler one. I think like volume 4 might have been a filler as well, but this one felt a little bit like a filler and I did still really enjoy it, but I did give it 4 stars. It wasn't quite 5 stars. This is a graphic novel series that is Greek mythology retellings essentially, and it's really good. It follows Hades and Persephone for the most part, but we're set in the underworld and the illustration style in this is absolutely stunning and I really enjoy the series as a whole. Then we did have my Patreon buddy read for April and May, which is A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I gave this one 3.5 stars. I thought this was good. I liked the writing style. I liked the characters. One thing I will say is that I went into this thinking that we were following Adira and Jack because they're the main characters, but we end up following a whole bunch of other people as well. And for the most part, Adira and Jack aren't even the main characters in this story, I wouldn't say. They play the biggest roles, I think, but there is a whole bunch of other characters in this that just seem to take the lead more. For example, Torin and Sidra. Sidra's definitely, I would say, like the main character of this story, 100%. But also like Freya and Jack's mom. Freya is Jack's sister, but Freya and his mom. Side characters that were very, very pertinent and important to this story and spent a lot of time as, you know, the character that we were following. But it was good. I enjoyed this. I had a good time with it. Didn't love it as much as I hoped I would, but I still had a good time with it nonetheless. 3.5 stars. Then I did read My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999, which I also got a copy of from Del Rey, so thank you to them for sending me a copy of this. I enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. It was a good time. It's been out for a while, I think, just not in English. There is even an anime about this, which I wouldn't mind watching, but I want to get a couple more volumes in, so I've got to wait until volumes 2 and 3 come out, I think. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. I gave it 4 stars. Then I did read Icarus by Kay Ankrum, which was sent to me by Harper360, so thank you to them for sending me a copy of this. I really love Kay Ankrum's books. I will say that the books that I've loved the most, The Wicker King and also The Weight of Stars. The Wicker King is my all-time favourite Kay Ankrum book. It's one of my favourite books of all time. Darling by Kay Ankrum, I didn't enjoy as much. I don't particularly like, I mean, I hate the original story of Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie anyway. I've never enjoyed it. But for some reason I just don't seem to get on with Peter Pan retellings either. But I actually read an interview, after reading this, I actually read an interview with Kay Ankrum saying that her writing style for Darling was very different to what she'd done before with The Wicker King and The Weight of Stars. And I could tell in the book. It was another reason why I didn't enjoy it. It just didn't feel like Kay Ankrum. And she's gone back to her old writing style with this and actually really enjoyed writing this a lot more than she did Darling. And I love that for her. I really love that for her because this writing style works for her every single time. I gave this one 4.5 stars. It was really, really good and I had a good time with it. It was nice to be back with this writing style from her and I really enjoyed it. I had a great time with this one and I would highly recommend. Thank you again to Harper360 for sending me a copy of this. Then I did read Murder Road by Simone St. James, which I gave 4.5 stars to. I really enjoyed this. I know a lot of people haven't enjoyed this too much, but I thought it was a good time. After saying that, I don't read a lot of horror and thrillers, so maybe that's why I thought it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I thought the supernatural element to this was really good. I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the town, I enjoyed exactly what was going on, the vibes and everything. I was freaked out a little bit. I thought the atmosphere was very, very good and I had a good time with it, so I gave it 4.5 stars. Next, I did read a book that was completely out of left field. This was the most random pick of the whole month, in fact probably the whole year. It was incredibly random. We were doing Box Readathon with my patrons, which is a special edition round of the 24-hour F1 readathon that I do every month for my patrons. We do it for a week instead and we focus on subscription box books. And I was having a little bit of a meltdown because I DNF'd Law of the Wilds and I didn't know where to go next with my books. So I was like mooching through all the different books on my shelves and then Bonesmith by Nikki Palpretto caught my eye. I ended up going to bed that night having not started anything else and then in the morning just randomly decided, because this was still on my mind, to pick this up. And the reason why, it was the tagline of dark young adult fantasy about a disgraced ghost fighting warrior who must journey into a haunted wasteland to rescue a kidnapped princess. It was the ghost fighting warrior that got me and I just couldn't stop thinking about it, so I decided to pick this up. Listen, there is a possibility I could be back in my YA fantasy era, which I've been out of for a few years now. This has been sat on my shelves since, it's actually been sat on my shelves since August last year, but I thought it was a lot longer than that. And I think I avoid a lot of the YA fantasy that comes in, either from subscription boxes or, well, if I buy it myself, that's my own fault. But I think I end up avoiding it because it's got the age range of it of YA, and I don't read YA much anymore unless it's horror and thriller. This did not read YA to me, and I think that publishers really need to start branching out into the new adult, and you know, whether it needs to be kicking and screaming, I don't know, it needs to be dragged in, because I have avoided this for months. I would have avoided it for years. I probably would have never read it, in all honesty. I gave this 5 stars. It was incredible. I had such a good time. The atmosphere, the world building, the fantasy element, just everything about this. Our main character, I fucking loved her. She was great, Ren. And I just loved it. It's come at the perfect time because Ghostsmith, which is the next one in the series, in the duology, is coming out very, very soon, and I'm really excited about it. So I've read it at the right time, which is good, but I would have slept on this. I really would have, because solely on the basis that it's YA. If this had have been pitched as new adult, I would have picked it up sooner, for sure. 100% for sure. And I really think that publishers really need to be using new adult a lot more, because this did not read YA in the slightest to me. In the slightest. I don't think it was quite adult, but it was definitely not YA either. 5 stars. It was so fucking good. Another one that falls into this category, The Crimson Moth by Kristen Cicerelli. This is not YA. Was there a portion at the end of this book where I rolled my eyes so hard I think I saw the back of my head? Yes. Did she start making some dumb bitch mistakes at the end of this? Yes. Did it add to the story? Yes. Was it a little bit irritating and very YA? Yes. However, was the rest of the story YA for me? Absolutely fucking not. No, it wasn't. It was 100% in that in-between space called new adult, between YA and adult. It wasn't adult, but it was older than YA, I am telling you right now. This was great, absolutely fantastic. It was only because of that little end bit that it didn't quite reach 5 stars for me. It had 5-star feels for a good portion of this book. It was just that end bit for me that didn't quite reach it. I do have it down as 4 stars on Corpile. I actually think I need to bump that up, because I haven't stopped thinking about this, and I definitely think it needs to be 4.5 stars. But this was really good. Witch and Witch Hunter fantasy romance, and it was fantastic, and I'm absolutely heartbroken that I do not have the Fairy Loot YA copy of this, and that it sells for so fucking much money on eBay and Vinted, because it's stunning. The Fairy Loot one, I mean, this is beautiful anyway, and the chances of me being able to get the Fairy Loot one of the second one, even if, because I didn't get the first one, is 0. Minimal, but 0. So I'm better off just sticking with this one. But 4.5 stars for this one. This was fantastic. Again, new adult, not YA. Then I did wrap up a whole last series that started in the same month with Fire Endless by Rebecca Ross, which is the second one in this series. And I actually gave this one 4 stars. This one I liked a little bit better than A River Enchanted. I thought it was very good. I was anxious at the time because Adira and Jack were separated in this one, and that bothers me a lot. Take a look at the fact that I haven't finished Iron Flame yet. It does bother me a lot when that happens, but it was, you know, it worked for the best in this book, and I actually really enjoyed this one, and I gave it 4 stars, and I have finished a duology in 1 month. Look at me go. Who is she? Then I did read Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thorne. I had the audiobook from NetGalley, and I started it on audio, and then me and Andy went to Blackpool one day. I ended up in Waterstones. It was in there because it had been released, so I picked it up, and I'm glad I did. I really enjoyed this one. Gave it 4.5 stars. This has been likened. This has been compared to Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree and House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. What I would say is both of those books are like high fantasy, low stakes, whereas, well, especially Legends and Lattes, this I would say is high fantasy, mid stakes. There is a lot more higher stakes in this one than in Legends and Lattes, for example, because there is treason. This is sapphic cozy fantasy, and I would highly recommend. There's dragons, there's a griffin, there's tea, there's a tea shop, a bookshop. It's just adorable, and I had a great time. There is also treason and lots of other high stakes shit going down, and it was a good time. 4.5 stars. Then I did read A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn. I loved this. This was so fucking good, and I can't believe I've been sleeping on this book. It's all because of Katie. I've ended up picking this one up, so shout out to Katie for that. I truly appreciate you, my love. I love this. 5 stars. It was a fantastic time. I've ended up buying the US copy of this because the UK copies are only available in books 1 to 3. So I've bought the US copies of books 1 to 3 for the time being. I will get the rest eventually, but just for now, the first 3 books. I love this. It was so fucking good. This is a story about, it's historical fiction, and it's a mystery with a ever so slight romantic element to it. Very, very minuscule at this point. I think it's going to be a very, very slow burn romance. But the mystery element to it is fantastic, and we're following Veronica and also Stoker, and she's trying to solve this mystery with Stoker, and it's just fantastic. And the banter between these two, the bickering, outstanding. I just loved it. It was so fucking good. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Then I did read The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, which was also for Katie's vlog. If you haven't seen this yet, I will leave a link to it up here, wherever the frig it goes. I gave this one 4 stars. I had a good time with this. I liked it. I think there were too many characters for me. I think that's the only downfall I had with this book, was that there was too many characters and there was a lot going on, and I did struggle sometimes to keep up with all of that. But overall, I liked it. I liked the element of the older people in this retirement home kind of coming together and doing something with their lives, and, you know, sticking their nose in where it doesn't belong, which is what old people do all the time, but actually for the good of something this time. And I don't know, I just kind of like that vibe. I think it was good, a good time. Would I continue with the series? Yes. Would I make it a priority? No. I can get the audiobooks from my library, so what I would probably end up doing is, when they're available, just listening to it in the background. I'm not likely to go out and buy these, but just listen to it one day in the background whenever they're available. Then we did have And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Backman. I gave this 5 stars. I sobbed in the vlog. This was so sad. It was so heartbreaking, heartwarming, gut-wrenching, devastating, beautifully written, beautifully told story of a grandpa talking to his grandson and trying to explain to him that he's got dementia. Not only are we having this conversation, but interwoven in that, grandpa is also talking to his late wife about how to tell his grandson he's got dementia, and he's also having conversations with his son as well, grandson's dad, who he's not had a tumultuous relationship with, but they've had their problems in the past. And it shows the struggle that the person with dementia has, not only with living with dementia, but having to speak to their family about it, and also having to deal with the frustrations of it. It shows the struggle of the family members having to deal with the repercussions of dementia as well, you know, going visiting and them not remembering who you are, like your own father not remembering who you are, or your own grandfather or whatever. And then it shows a child's version of it as well, which is, honestly, I've got chills thinking about it now, so wholesome and very, I suppose, expected maybe of a child. Kids are so resilient, honestly. And they can make the best out of any shit situation. It is incredible, and you see that in here as well. Like, grandson will say to grandpa, how can I help you with this? What do you need me to do on days when you forget? And it's just so beautiful, such a beautiful story. It packs a punch considering it's only like 70 odd pages long. It doesn't half pack a punch, and it was so incredible. 76 pages. I haven't had anyone in my life have dementia close to me. I've had friends have their loved ones have dementia, but nobody close to me specifically. So I've never had to live through it, but it terrifies me every single day that a loved one of mine could get it, and I just don't know how I would cope with that at all. I just think it would be really, really hard, and this book was beautiful. I think it did a very good job of depicting that and showing you very quickly what it can be like to live with it, and also live with it within a loved one as well. Beautiful story, would recommend. Next we do have Light Lark by Alex Astor, another one I think that bridges the gap to new adult. I reckon, I don't know, it just didn't seem that young, I would say. I enjoyed this one. This was very, very good. It's another kind of game-esque one, you know, think the Hunger Games. This gave me the vibes of the Hunger Games meets Divergent meets Powerless by Lauren Roberts, and I had a great time with it. I thought it was really, really good. This was another reason why I feel like I might be getting back into my YA fantasy era, but it's another reason why I'm actually questioning that theory, because I genuinely believe what's happening is that the YA fantasy that's coming through now is older and should not be classified as YA. I've already said this, but it should not be classified as YA. I think it should be new adult, and I think I'm in my new adult fantasy era, but it's being called YA, so it looks like I'm back in my YA fantasy era. I don't know, maybe I'm talking out of my ass, it's a possibility, but I really enjoyed this. I thought it was very, very good, and I had a really good time with it. Very excited to get to Nightbane. Sky Shade is the third one, which I've just pre-ordered. So yeah, really enjoyed this one, 4 stars. Then I read In the Weeds by BK Borison. I loved this. This was so good. I had a very good time with it. I didn't love it as much as Love Lights Farm, but I did have a very good time with it. It was so nice to be back at Love Light Farms and be back with these characters that we have come across previously. Beckett and Evelyn were in Love Light Farms, but as side characters, so it was nice to be back with them and just follow this story. It was great. There was a slight miscommunication at the end, towards the end, which bothered me a little bit, so it did get 4.5 stars on that basis, but otherwise fantastic. Very excited to go on to Mixed Signals, and I'm really happy with the fact that I did manage to purchase the Afterlight set of these. Afterlight, I think, set of these. I'm very excited about that situation. Then I did read Such a Quiet Place by Megan Miranda. This is my first Megan Miranda book. It was a good time. I gave it 3 stars. It was nothing special, but I had a good time with it. I would try reading a Megan Miranda book again. If anybody's got any recommendations for me based off of this situation, the fact that I gave this 3 stars, like, what recommendations have you got for me as far as Megan Miranda is concerned? Because I'm interested to know. I've got no idea where to go from here with her, but yeah, I had a good time with it and I gave it 3 stars. And then last but by no means least, I did get an arc of a book, and I didn't think, it was very late coming through and I didn't think I would get to it before it came out, but I did. I just about managed it and I smashed it out right at the end of the month. And I'm really proud of myself. And then I ended up buying a physical copy of it because I couldn't help myself. I love the covers for these and I think they're absolutely stunning, so I really wanted a copy. This is book 3 in the series. The series is Sugarland Creek series, and it is Fall With Me by Brooke Montgomery, and I really enjoyed this one. It was very, very good. Like I say, book 3 in the series, these can be read as standalones, but I would recommend reading them in order. Despite the fact that I haven't read books 1 and 2 yet, I did feel like there were bits that I was missing out on, having not read the first 2 books. So in this one we are following Landon and also Ellie. We follow the Hollis family, so think very much along the lines of Chestnut Spring series. With the Eaton family, we have the Hollis family this time. Landon is the middle child. He's got 2 older twin brothers. He's got a younger brother, and then he's got his youngest sister, Noah. It's 5 of them in total, and we see a lot of Noah in this story. Noah's story is the first one in the series. We see a lot of her in this book, so this is the reason why I feel like I'm missing out a little bit on some background with her. But I loved her. I thought she was fantastic, and I'm very excited about reading her book. Ellie she's a barrel racer, and she ends up coming to the Hollis farm because she wants to board her horse there, but also get some training from Noah because she's the best trainer around, and she ends up doing that. However, she hates Landon for reasons that we find out later in the book. Absolutely, like, viscerally hates him, and he doesn't understand why, because she won't tell him. She refuses to tell anybody. And then later on in the book, something happens. She has an accident, she gets amnesia. Landon's her new best friend. She absolutely loves him, and she ends up kind of leaning into that a lot, and then her memories come back. And yeah, it's just really, really good, really, really interesting. I adored this. It was so good. We got these in the Kindle book, but I didn't know if they would be in the book or not. But you get illustrations throughout the book as well. Absolutely stunning. There is quite a few. There's a not safe for work one as well a little bit later on, so I won't show you that one, but they're so beautiful, and I just love them every now and then, just kind of woven into the story. So beautiful. I absolutely love this. I gave it 5 stars. It was fucking fantastic. I loved the writing style. I loved the banter between Landon and Ellie, even when they were hating on each other, like the bickering. Loved it. I loved Landon. This is very much so golden retriever, black cat, grumpy sunshine. Such a beautiful story, and I adored it. It was so good. 5 stars for this one. This is the last book of the month. So those were the 20 books that I read in May. I had a great reading month. I had so many 5-star reads, and then so many 4-star reads as well. So really good reading month. I know a lot of people may look at my ratings and say that I rate too highly, but I think it's just that I know my reading tastes very well, and I tend to stick within these lines where I can. It's very rare you'll get a 1- and 2-star read from me, because I actively DNF. If I am not enjoying my time with a book, I will DNF it. There is no point in wasting my time finishing that book only to have to hate on it later, or it risk putting me in a slump. So you will find that I give a lot of 4 and 5 stars out on occasion. There's the 3-star, and very rarely there will be a 2 and 1-star read. But yeah, I had such a good time reading in the month of May. I had a great time, actually. 20 books is incredible, and I'm really proud of myself. So yeah, and I managed to get through some books that have been on my shelf for a while. I managed to get through some new releases as well, which I'm really pleased with, and also some ARCs as well, which is great. So I had a great time. Chat to me in the comments down below. What was your favourite book of May? I think what was mine? I really fucking loved And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer, but I think very close behind that is A Curious Beginning, Bonesmith, and then Fall With Me for sure. So I had a really good reading month. I hope you also had a really good reading month. Chat to me in the comments down below. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I shall see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.